It's like a giant throne room, huh?
Yeah, and like a it's a dark, almost endless void of a throne room with floating mirror shards, in which the veiled queen has been, as a reflection, shifting through them piece to piece to talk through you, never actually manifesting as a direct form. All of your interactions have had to have been through talking to her in these various shards, in which sometimes she appears very differently or has a different voice or attitude as she moves between them, talking to you. Until that moment where you felt her thin clawed fingers like go through your hair and pull it back from your face, and you heard her whisper into your ear that it was time for you to explain your actions to her. And then that presence just kind of dissipates, and you're just standing in this room, this chamber filled with all these mirror shards, an empty, massive, like crimson throne, which seems to be both near and far all at the same time, kind of directly ahead. Dog's having a day.
You're a god? If anyone here knows why I did what I did, it's you. I won't try to justify it, besides that at the time I thought it was what was best for the world and the rest of my friends.
You tell him. Still too
loud. I'm gonna try to cast a spell. I'm just going to try to lighten up the area, and I'll cast daylight. Put my hands together. Alatrari, perhaps you can't hear me, but you did impart upon me certain powers, and perhaps that's all I need to prove that my faith is properly vested. And we'll cast daylight.
So, the spell manifests as like a spark of light that very quickly dies out. It's still there. It's just not powerful or fully present in your space. So the light happens, and there's like a small flash of it, but just very quickly just is overeaten by like the darkness in the room, and put out.
Seldarine can hear me. Katarina, you have nothing to answer for. The lives of mortals are not micromanaged by those that sit on high. She has nothing to answer for. And I'll step in between her and the Veiled Queen.
It's all right, Altheon. I can handle this one.
You don't have to handle it alone.
This time I think I do.
Well, then no, I'll be right behind you. I'll step backwards a few steps behind her.
As a response to what you say, one of the shards of mirror kind of comes floating down from up above, kind of directly in front of you, and it comes in really close, just within a few feet of you, and you can see into it, and you can see parts of your life playing through this mirror. Vision of you as like a small child playing with toys, birthdays past, time spent with your adoptive father, and you can see like true elation and fun and positivity, like through your own facial expressions and the joy that was brought into your life. As you got older, you remember as it's playing through, watching your father leave to go into town, you looking out like the window and watching as he like rode away, to be gone for a few days at a time, being discouraged from leaving and never really getting explanations about like your parents, your life, him always finding ways to dodge or circumvent it. And as it changes, your emotions kind of follow through, and you can feel that resentment kind of build up in you again that you've had that whole time for him and everything that happened. And then the realization of him being gone for days and then weeks and then that month, and you finally deciding that you needed to work up that courage to go out into the world and find him, running into Patty and her father and then traveling to Rivergate. And then finally it works its way to the time spent in Avernus. And you can hear the conversation, and that memory just floods open. And you remember very specifically the words that were exchanged between yourself and Hecate, and exactly what she demanded and the reasons why. And then this reel of like your past life moments kind of is paused with you agreeing without discussion amongst anybody else and without volunteer from Hargrave saying that you would give him over as collateral to Hecate. And then alongside that, you feel this sickening feeling in your gut that you felt of absolute betrayal at the time come flooding back to you. And then the Veiled Queen kind of shifts into the mirror. And through that mask, this featureless face of porcelain kind of comes partially out of the mirror. If it was just asking for the questions of one, decision and not those influenced by another, then you would possibly have nothing to answer for. But this is now 2 of my loyal worshippers and servants that you have sacrificed to a nemesis of mine. So I ask why it is that you have sided with Hecate. What is it that she offers you in return for doing her bidding?
At that time, she offered me the lives of the rest of my friends.
And nothing else? Are you truly sure it was just about them and it wasn't about yourself? It wasn't about promising to help you find your adoptive father?
I can't say that that wasn't a contributing factor. I've spent a long time trying to get that information. It was too good of an offer to pass up.
And now that you have it, how do you feel?
Now that I have it, I feel more determined than ever to find him. Determined enough that my friends are going to put their lives on the line once again to accompany me there.
So you would be willing to risk their lives simply to get answers to questions you have? Ultimately self-fulfilling. And what would you say to your father anyways? What do you plan to do with him, based on what you know, based on what you've been told about him?
I've thought about that a lot, and I wish I could answer your question. But I don't think I can tell you how I would react when I see him again.
You don't think that you would be angry with him for kidnapping you and taking you away from your birth parents, murdering them? You don't think that you would want revenge?
Are you confirming that that's what happened?
I'm confirming that you're willing to do what Hecate says. Ultimately, you are more than likely just a tool for her use, for her exploitation. I simply want to know why you'd be willing to follow through with that, if that's ultimately where you were led. I can see all of the different outcomes and paths that one might take, that others have taken to get you here. Although for some reason, I can't see exactly what the outcome is.
With or without her intervention, this was my goal. Maybe you're looking at it the wrong way. Maybe I used her to get here, not the other way around.
Possibly. Possibly not. Gods have been used by mortals in the past. It's exceedingly rare, but it has happened. What do you think the rest of your compatriots would do if you put them through danger, death, and then you simply forgave him? Or if they died and simply watched you murder him in cold blood?
I couldn't force them to go with me. They volunteered.
They volunteered. You don't think that they owed you allegiance or were compelled to by anything else?
I have no way to speak to their motives.
No, but you can. You can speculate. You don't have to have the right answer. But you're saying ultimately that because they decided to go with you, that your hands are clean of whatever actions happen or transpire.
I don't think my hands can ever be clean again.
That is what we're attempting to determine, is it not? How about we just solve it then? And she reams out her claws, and black smoke kind of just comes out of it, and she puts them over, and they become elongated and gargantuan. And this black smoke just starts like dripping out, and then she swipes it away. And there's Malark. Looking as if he did the last time that you saw him, about 40-ish years old. Doesn't feel like he's changed at all. I mean, realistically, it hasn't been that much time since you passed him, but since you found he was in the Shadowfell, who knows what could have happened. But he does seem confused and distraught. And he kind of snaps his head around and looks, sees everybody, sees you, and kind of just, his eyes go wide. Katarina, what are you doing here? Where am I? And he kind of walks over to you. And both of his hands go on your shoulders on either side. Dear girl, what happened? What have you done?
I'm gonna look around. What is this?
It's the answer to your question. What would you do if you saw him? Well, here he is. He was finding asylum inside my domain. Did you not think that I could bring him here? And she says, Malark, your daughter has something to confront you over. It's best time you tell her the truth.
Holy shit. I'm gonna lean forward just a little bit so that Katarina can hear me. We're still here. We're not moving.
It is plugged in.
Oh, okay, just wanted to make sure. I don't know if both were plugged in or if it was pulling the computer. We were having a little bit of audio issue.
Oh. One part did come out. There we go. It's fine.
Terrified death noises get slow for a second.
I think, you know what? The dog came over here. She probably popped it.
That's exactly what it was, yeah. She was Mrs. I need attention.
Mrs. Mood.
Mrs. Mood, there you go.
So, I mean, he looks concerned. He looks healthy. He looks, because he looks like exactly the day he did the last time that you saw him, wearing the same robes, the same clothing, his wizarding robes, same features, still there. As far as you can tell, it's him. I mean, if not, then I mean, it's the most convincing and elaborate piece of magic or illusion that you've ever seen, which she is a goddess. But then begs the question, if she has that kind of power, why make an illusion?
Is this some sort of trick? Are you testing me to see if I'll sacrifice one of your followers for a third time?
You don't get an answer. Who are these people?
I'm gonna reach up and pull his hands off of me.
He looks confused, but at the same time, kind of accepting of that. What is the meaning of all of this? What's wrong? Why are you here? Where are we?
You here?
I was in a study. I was working on something. And then I felt this voice, this call to this place. And then shadows overtook me. And now I'm here.
Study where?
I was hiding in the Shadowfell. A deal I made with a powerful domain lord allowed me to evade my enemies and hide from them there. And Katarina, I'm a more than capable wizard. I know my ways. I booked passage to the Shadowfell and made my way through various individuals and provided some services, and now I'm here. It's strange.
Right, you booked your trip for one to the Shadowfell.
Yes, for one.
Why?
I don't even know who you are. Who are these people? An elf? Goliath? This goblin? A warforged? You're keeping strange company.
We're her friends!
Is that true? Are they your friends?
I don't have to answer any of your questions.
I'm not sure how we can work our way through this then. Where are we?
Well, you heard her.
Yes, who is she? But where are we? I was in a study. This is my own personal hell, isn't it?
No, we're in the
I've
court
died.
of the Veiled Queen, you buffoon.
Court of the Veiled Queen? And he kind of just spins around, this cloak swings with him. And he's just, what is the meaning of this? Why would you bring me here? Why would you bring her here? You know that you put us all in danger by interacting. Gods aren't supposed to be involved in the affairs of mortals. You're not supposed to fight each other either.
Can't speak for her. Or while you're here. We're all here because we died.
You died.
Not that you'd care.
Why wouldn't I care? You've passed on and I was a... Why did you...
You were gone. That's the point.
Why did you... How did you die? Where did you die?
Looking for you.
But I told you to stay.
You always told me to stay.
It's safe there, is why, Katarina. It is safe. The outside world is dangerous for you.
What's the point of safe if I'm in a prison?
It wasn't a prison. I know it felt like that at times, but it was for your own good. And I know that people will say that the sacrificing of one's... It's never easy, and it's not easy doing the things that I had to do. But it was for your own good. And now you are dead. I don't even know what that means.
What was for my own good? Kidnapping me from
You
my
shouldn't
original
even
parents?
be dead. How have you even died?
That doesn't matter now.
You're dancing around a lot of questions and giving very little answers.
I'm finding a hard way to get to the answers I need to. I'm not sure how this is even possible. With your power, with your blessings, you shouldn't even be here. Why have you brought her here? Why is she here? You are interfering, and you know this.
I'm gonna walk up a little bit and lean over. And if we want to talk, we may want to pick that up. Just talk.
It's hurtful that you would think that I would not be scarred by the fact that you have passed on, that you are stuck in this place. You are my only daughter. Why would that not bother me? Why would I not be hurt by that?
'Cause we
Leaving
both
you was
know
difficult.
That's not true.
So that's what this is about then.
That's what this is about then.
Well, how did you find out?
I left our home looking for my father. And now I'm standing here across the way from the man who kidnapped me from my parents and did who knows what sort of experiments on me to get me like I am now. Why?
Now, I think about it, I don't really know why at this point. What was the point of all of it? Especially if you were just gonna intervene. What was the point of it all? To get us here?
You don't even know. This is my life that we're talking about. I could have been a totally different person. I could be alive right now.
She would have never let you be a totally different person. You are who you are now because of my intervention.
That's the problem.
Katarina, I did take you from your parents. It was the only right thing to do, was
Why?
to take you.
How? Under what possible circumstance?
Katarina, you're not who you think you are. You're not what you think you are.
Then tell me.
You are not fully human, but yet not fully not human.
Because of what you did to me.
No, because of what your parents did to you. Your parents are in fact your birth parents, but not through their own conception. You are, through and through, a true daughter of Hecate. She made you in her image. Your parents were cultists who worshipped at her altar. I am not the man that she made me out to be in your mind. I was an adventurer like many others, given a task to deal with atrocious undergoings. Although I did what I was not supposed to, my job was to destroy you. But seeing this small, defenseless child in this altar of pure decadence with the evil undertakings around, instead of killing you, I took you. I killed your parents along with my friends and compatriots, and we disappeared, fearing Hecate's retribution, which we knew would come. Your power is much greater than any one human sorceress has been. Hecate wanted you as an avatar of her power. It was only a matter of time before she found us, found me, found you. With your power growing uncontrollably, you do not remember the things that you had done and why we had to live where we lived. You were a danger to yourself, myself, and everyone around. So we lived in isolation. I know it felt terrible, and it was, I guess it was a prison. But it was a prison to make everybody else in the world safe. Unfortunately, I had to leave. I needed answers, and I couldn't get them what I needed to help you where I was. But our home was warded, roomed, and protected. If you would have stayed there, she would not have found you. You have to believe me, Katarina. You are my daughter. If not mine, then the daughter of people who were willing to subjugate you to worse. Then you hear a voice in the back of your head, and you recognize it as Hekate's. That smooth, powerful voice just egging you on. What if he's lying? What if he's only afraid because he knows what you would do to him? Why would I lie? I've done nothing but help you. I've done nothing but teach you and guide you. And even if what he said was true, what would be so terrible about being the daughter of a deity?
Why didn't you tell me any of this?
I just thought it would do more harm than good.
So why didn't you take me with you?
Honestly, because I was afraid of what you might do. I was afraid that no matter what I did, where I took you, or who you met with, or whatever friends you made on the road, that bit of you that was made by her, that part of Hekate, would not be able to be suppressed. That ultimately you would find yourself doing things that I would find abhorrent, or others might not trust you if they found out. I mean, ultimately, you haven't done anything that you should regret.
You can't possibly know that.
I'm assuming that based on what I know about the girl who would do nothing but insist on reading every book that I could find and bring back from that small town, who had nothing but wonder and curiosity for everything around her, what I did, what the world was outside of our home, that you would probably never do some of the things that Hekate would have pushed you to do.
How long did you expect me to stay there by myself then?
I don't know. A time. I was trying to find answers, find a way to somebody, perhaps trying to track down someone who might have answers as to
How to fix me?
not necessarily how to fix you, but better understand what was happening and what happens to, for lack of a better word, quarter gods. I needed answers as to where they go, how long they live, can when they die, what happens, what your power could look like. I needed answers as to how much of a threat you could be to the material realm. My compatriots believed that we just needed to end you there. End Hekate's plotting, her plans, whatever she wanted you for. I also needed to find out if there were others like you in the world.
Did you find out if there are others?
Other daughters of Hekate? No. No solid answers or leads. As to whether or not there are other half-deities in the world, yes.
And what is the significance of this realm? What part does the Veiled Queen play in all of this?
The Veiled Queen is who's partly responsible for making sure that we couldn't be found. The runes and protections. I knew a paladin in my journeys as a younger man, so I went to him. The Veiled Queen offers protection and guidance to adventurers and people who put themselves in our line of work. The Veiled Queen, being a nemesis to Hekate, would be more than willing to help. Turns out, she's shrewd and required a great deal of persuasion.
Do you wish now that you would have let them kill me, I mean?
When I would see the raw magical power that you were capable of, sometimes I considered that I made a mistake. Do I consider now that I've made a mistake? Is determined by the kind of person you've turned out to be.
She won't say it, I will. She turned out to be the type that throws herself against the darkness at each opportunity to save those around her, to protect the innocent and the weak.
Someone who learns from her mistakes, but stands by her friends.
And then everybody gets to Matt, who has nothing to say. Yeah, go Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, what he said.
But you're weighing your love for her as if the results are what matters. She asked if you wished you had killed her when you first discovered her, and you hesitated. You are not a father. You're an inventor.
I'm the closest thing to a father that she would ever have had.
And you couldn't give her the love and security that she needed.
That's all I gave you. Love and security.
Only because you were scared of me.
No, not because I was afraid of you. I kept everyone else from you because I was afraid what they would think of you, what you would do to them. I wanted nothing but to find an answer to how to possibly undo what had been done. To find if there was a way to dampen your powers to, I don't know, anything, to try to give you as normal of a life as I could. But a life in the open world where Hekate's followers, her eyes were everywhere, you could not have that. She would have found you. And at such a young age, who knows what she could have convinced you of, or just taken you. But maybe I was wrong. You could have just been left to become a worshiper of Hekate, her true daughter, a part of her. She is, in fact, your mother, for lack of a better word. So perhaps you would have led a more fulfilling or a better life underneath her care or her watch.
Then why would she tell me that my magic was stolen from her?
Because she lies and twists the truth.
What did Malark's demeanor look like when he answered that question? Has his body language changed at all? Does it look like he might be lying?
It's hard to say. He hasn't been necessarily stoic. He's definitely been concerned the whole time. Nothing really changed with the way he presented the statement. Maybe a little bit more matter of fact than he has some of the other stuff, but I'm not sure what you want from me. You have the truth, or my version of it. I'm now here at your mercy. The mercy of a realm of a being far beyond comprehension. Now split between two of them. You will have to choose. You understand this. Either Hekate and your powers, and what that could be, or everything else.
I've already done what she's asked of me, and all it led to was pain for my friends. I'm not going to be a servant to anybody else.
All you need to do is serve yourself. Make your own decisions. Your own destiny is in your own hands.
Except that right now it's not. It's up to the Veiled Queen if I even have the chance.
Why is that?
I told you I'm dead, didn't I? If I stay here, I guess it doesn't really matter much.
Well, yes, you're all dead, but you're also all here. The Veiled Queen doesn't just bring anybody to her realm for no reason. There's a reason you are all here. I know why you are here. I don't know why they are here, but I know why you are here. You are here because she has a vested interest in you.
We're here because we have a vested interest in her. Wouldn't let her face all of this alone. God to know. And your birthright doesn't define you. You prove every day that you're a good person. You don't need Kate's influence. Won't change.
They're here because one of the Veiled Queen's servants blessed them in their quest, and then I killed him.
And so he changes from concern to very, very dour. So Hekate has found a way to use you. By the gods, she came so close to getting you right where she needed you.
Of course she found a way. You raised a child and never taught it that fire was hot and would burn her. You never showed her the danger.
She understands the danger of what her magic's done,
Now,
what she's capable of. It's not like she never used her magic or cast any sort of spell before she left our home. She might not have understood where it came from, why she had it, how she inherited it, or exactly how far it could go, but neither did I.
And yet, because she knew nothing of Hekate when Hekate arrived, she had no distrust for her.
I'm sure she had a healthy distrust, as most do.
Maybe after being abandoned by her dad, one person she thought she could trust.
Not abandoned.
Doesn't sound...
Abandonment makes it seem like I was never coming back for her, like it wouldn't be resolved. I was.
For all I knew, you weren't.
Well, I don't know what more you could have wanted if I was to try to keep you safe. The more that you are aware of your connection to her, to the world, the easier it is for her, to find followers and people. These deities are connected through their worshippers, the people who speak about them. They have eyes everywhere. They're not their own. They're not all-knowing and all-powerful. They have blind spots. And you knowing anything about your past and history just made you a liability to yourself. You admitted yourself that ever since she's found you, it's been nothing but terrible. I mean, did you not read the book that I left? The notes that I've left within? I left the papers at our home for you to find.
And those pages illustrated all the things that you did to me to make me this way.
That doesn't sound right. That's not what I left you. That's not what's there in our home.
I'm gonna pull his book out and just toss it onto the ground. It's all in there. I read it.
Yes, it's a full study and breakdown of the things, how I learned about your powers and the machines needed to understand you are in there. But also in there should be a fully realized understanding of everything that you did. So he grabs the book, picks up off the ground, and opens it. I don't remember any of this. I don't see. Where are they?
You never did hide her,
Yes,
did you?
Hekate was always there.
No, that can't be. That's not true.
She guided your hand.
No.
This is your book.
Yes, it's
You
mine,
wrote
but
this.
this
This is
isn't...
your handwriting.
It is my handwriting. I recognize it. It would be mine. It's my encryption, my anagrams, everything that I wrote. He kind of closes it. But did you not find the memos in the office, in my private library? They were there.
I saw no such thing.
But your favorite dress was left there on the chair, near them.
I don't remember these, do I? No, these aren't a thing. Ah!
Time to console my
You make a history check if you like.
Let's see what happens. Oh, I rolled a 19.
The sheer shock of that number.
25.
The dress that you were wearing when you left your home, up until you just got your new one, was your favorite dress. That was it. You wore it every time you went into town. You insisted on it. It was your favorite, which is why you chose to start venturing into the world with something that you loved with you at all times. You don't remember the memos, though, and you don't remember any kind of... There was nothing. You do remember a smattering of things. Your original assumption was that he had been taken, because the state of the home that you left, when you left, was disheveled, and it looked like he left in a hurry, so you assumed that he fled for some reason. There was discarded paperwork, spilled inkwells, books you ripped off of shelves. The home was a mess.
There was nothing on your desk. I spent weeks in that room cleaning up the disaster that was left. I didn't find any of these memos.
So he kind of just looks. He's confused. You can see he's thinking. And she found you then. I thought you were safe there, but she found you somehow. She took everything.
What did these memos say?
Explain to her why I was leaving, where I was going. It didn't spell out why I was doing it, but it did say I would be back within the year. I left a gold fund for you. There was money there for you to continue to shop. To go into town to buy more food. By the gods, Patty was supposed to be there to check in on you.
Now I know you're lying. She did not know you were gone either, until I told her.
No, that can't be. Why would her father not tell her? This is troubling. Either way, she has found you. She's connected to you. She knows that you weren't destroyed. She knows now that you're willing to speak to her. You've now opened up that door, that connection between the two of you again.
I may have opened this door, but you built it. You did this to me. None of what you're saying adds up.
Well, then what would you like to do? I'm telling you the truth. I saved you as a child. I protected you.
My magic is...
So you hear the Veiled Queen. No such things. She must decide for herself.
I think she's rude.
Do not assume that I could force them both to see the truth if I wanted.
I did assume, no, didn't think about that.
The truth is not what's important here, it's the actions. Truth would...
What's important is that Katarina decide what kind of person she is and who she wants to be. Katarina, I'm telling you the truth. It was all there. When I left, she must have sent someone to the home to keep an eye on you. people that you've met along the way. Somebody.
No one came. I was alone for months, and I had no idea why.
There is a thread here to pull on. You say Paddy knew, and yet you say she didn't.
We went to Avernus with them. Warforged maps.
I met them because of Patty. She told me that you would be at the circle in Rivergate.
So everything you've done has been in a direction Hecate pointed you to?
Or he's lying.
Yes, one or the other.
Wasn't part of the Rivergate bullshit. All of that was part of the Kisses as well.
Yes.
Could Hecate and the Kisses somehow be connected?
Connected, not in the tomes, but in League. Anything is possible.
I told Patty's father to keep an eye on you. They were supposed to come by every once in a while, once every couple of weeks, to make sure that you had everything that you needed. That the magical barriers were still in place.
So they knew.
They knew that you were a special individual. And given what Patty's family went through when Patty got her powers, he understood why I was doing what I was doing. Her father knew the pain of losing somebody extremely important to him, to a sorcerer who didn't understand how to control who they were, the raw magical energies they were connected to. There is much that sorcerers go through that they forget, miss, blank out when they're growing into their powers. It's not a fully understood science. It's not wizardry. It's not something I can write in a book. It's uniquely personal to each one of these, to a sorcerer who manifests powers. I 100% guarantee you that Patty does not remember incinerating her mother. But she did. It did happen. And the only way she was saved is because her father attached her soul to the Warforged. You must believe me, there may be blank spots or parts in your memory that don't make sense or don't add up, but they are there. And I can explain all of this to you if we can just get past this and get out of here. Whatever the Veiled Queen wants from us, obviously, is sitting on your shoulders. She brought me here to you to have this conversation for you to decide something moving forward. So what shall it be? Do you believe me? Or do you believe what Hecate has told you? You can choose power. I can't stop you, and I can't control you. But the only reason you are who you are now is because I made that decision when you were a small child to take you with me.
I don't want to be a pawn in anybody else's game anymore. If that's what I have to do to have the power I have, I don't want it. I don't care if you're telling the truth or if she is. I'm tired of having decisions made for me. I don't want it anymore.
All right. Don't think anybody will control you anymore then. That doesn't mean that her influence is gone, though. You understand that. You are connected to her on a level that you cannot just wish away. You will always have to be vigilant going forward. She will stop at nothing to make sure that you come underneath the fold of her protection. There will always be a dark part of you, your soul, that will yearn for that power, that call to her. I was trying to get rid of that. Find a way. You make decisions for yourself. That's fine. I accept the part I played in your life. But I won't say I'm sorry. I made all the best decisions that I thought I had.
Well, you don't have to worry about me anymore. It's no longer your responsibility.
Well, you seem to have grown into a full adult, a grown woman. I never thought that I would ever see that. Well, if you're satisfied, I would like to go then.
Bye, Father.
Maybe I'll see you again someday.
Maybe when it's your turn to be wherever we are now.
We'll see. And so, the Veiled Queen appears, this time in physical form, in the room. She comes out of one of the shards of mirror and appears physically. And she stands upright. And there's nothing there, but you guys hear a door open. The sounds of heavy doors shifting and stone moving. And a light kind of comes from behind you, and as you look, you see a figure standing in the doorway. And the Veiled Queen kind of walks forward past you and addresses this individual. What do I owe the pleasure of your arrival here in my domain, Hecate?
Oh, shit! What? Mom and Dad are both here.
Holy shit.
Hecate walks forward and points at you and Malark. You know why I'm here.
I'm gonna kind of scooch, so I'm like more in between the two of them.
Okay. You know why I am here. She is mine. And he requires judgment on my behalf for crimes committed against my followers. And you and I both know, based on the rules set forth in the tablet, this falls into my purview. She's not one of your followers, Veiled Queen. She is my daughter. I demand that you turn her over to me. That her soul comes to my domain, under my purview. And I demand his life in retribution. So the Veiled Queen kind of looks down at you and at Malark. walks over to Hecate. It's very unwise of you to make demands in my domain, Hecate. For you to come here, unannounced. But you do have a point. Unfortunately for you, Katarina has decided that she does not wish to pursue her relationship with you any further, and is now officially underneath my protection. So, must we have this discussion in front of Parathor to solve it for us? Hecate kind of turns away for a moment, starts to walk back towards the door, and stops. Turns back. One way or another, your soul will be mine, Katarina. One way or another, you'll find your way back to me. You will fall into dire and desperate straits, and you will have to call upon more of my power and more gifts. And I'll be waiting. I understand what is coming, what is happening on the material plane. I have seen it. You will come to me eventually. You will be begging, you will be crying as you watch the world burn around you. As once again your friends are put in harm, because ultimately that is a weakness that you have decided to latch onto, is love for the other mortals in this room. And I will be there for you. So scorn me now, daughter. But I am your only true salvation. And we're gonna go break.
Oh my god.
So, Hecate, turns and says that, tosses you all that bullshittery, guaranteeing that you're gonna be, coming to her one day for power. And then she turns to leave, and she walks through the doors that she came in. They once again close, the loud thud that kind of echoes through the chamber. And the veiled queen kind of, I want to say, I guess shrinks down in size and then kind of comes over more in line with like the average height of a human, and comes over to you all. So, I offer you my protection, not in... I don't need anything in return from you. But at a very minimum, me saying that I will be looking out for you will at least keep her from taking any rash or direct action. And as a patron to adventurers, I can keep a careful eye on what she's doing around you.
This protection doesn't matter if we're dead. Are you telling us we might not be?
You're not dead. The four of you were never in question. Only somebody who directly harmed my followers and worshippers was in question. I needed to know the truth of what was in her soul and her heart and what she would ultimately do. there was a question of whether or not you would seek vengeance and destroy your father, as opposed to, I want to say, coming to an understanding between the two of you. But with that being said, you still must overcome the hurdle. I can't directly intervene in the material plane. With mortal problems. So when you are ready, it's back to where you fell.
Like we're going right back to the battle.
Well, I assume our corpses are getting cold on the floor. We're not really here. Mine was always cold.
You've only been dead for a few seconds.
Cool.
Are we gonna be healed in any way, or if we go right back, we'll just... Obviously we were injured until we died, so if we go right back, we're still pretty hurt. We'll just be right back here.
Are you ready to return?
Nothing.
Your Eminence, may I ask you a question first?
No. Are you ready to return?
Yes. With that, yes.
Sasha.
Your guard dogs are very loud.
Jesus.
To go deal with an angry guard dog.
What does she want?
I don't know. Pissed about something.
No. This is... She wants a snack.
She was hungry, everyone. One person rules this place, and it's not him.
If you have any last words for Malark, you should say them now. He will not be returning to the material plane.
You'll send him back to the Shadowfell?
Possibly. Him and I have
I'm sorry.
a discussion that needs to be had.
I will turn to him. It appears that this is goodbye then.
That seems to be the case. It was nice to see you again one last time.
If all of what you said is true, then I hope you can live out the rest of your life unburdened, as you have not been able to do for a while.
I guess we'll see.
I'll turn to the Veiled Queen. I am ready.
All right then. And she raises her clawed fingers, and a almost blackish, like ink, kind of begins to rise in the room. And then as it engulfs you all, you feel like you're drowning, and your breath gives way, and you succumb to darkness. But then you awake in the chamber, a long chamber with a row of statues dedicated to Taylor. And a large set of reinforced steel doors up ahead, an old doorway.
Holy shit. the statues and the door. I want to like pat my body down. Like, do I have any of the wounds of the previous like anything? Do I feel whole? My intestines on the ground?
Everything feels fine.
I'm gonna try to cast minor illusion.
Works just fine.
Well, I can't say I wasn't worried about that not working.
Whoa.
I'm gonna look around. Is my Hound of Ill Omen around?
Ooh.
Do you call for him, or are you just looking to see if he's there?
I will call for him as I normally do. Like, not in an attack way, but I want to see if he's still there.
Okay. So you call out to him, and from the darkness around one of the back sides of the statue, aside from you, you see him kind of creep out. You see his eyes first come forward, and he looks at everybody and sees you and kind of comes forward with kind of head low and tail in a very, like, neutral position. As you called?
You're still here.
Yes, where else would I be? You're my master.
I was worried
No.
about the
Well, you hear her talking.
Okay.
repercussions that disowning Hecate might have.
And he kind of just, his ears go up and he kind of tilts his head. What do you mean?
Well, I essentially told, I guess, the Veiled Queen, not technically her, but that if my magic came with strings attached, I didn't want it.
He just sits. So you denied a greater power from Hecate.
Yes.
Well, you're not a warlock. Your powers can't be taken from you.
Guess I wasn't sure until now.
Your powers come from within, a greater power that exists as a part of your very being. I can't... Kind of looks around and you can see him like sniffing the air, which is weird because you're not sure if he actually like it works. I mean, you've seen him sniff for like magic and stuff, but so maybe he's doing something similar, but there's something different about you. I can't quite figure it out, but something has changed. Either way, your power is yours. If you denied her access to greater knowledge and greater power still beyond what you currently possess, you might never find the answers to how to attain them. Or you might.
I can live with that.
I don't have all the answers. I am just a simple hound.
Well, I'm glad you're still here.
Maybe Irma's soul has better answers than I.
That's a good idea. Once we're out of this place, I'll have to ask him.
You all have your memories, by the way. I just want you to know, you all remember dying.
We're in like the hall before the
Yeah.
chamber with
Yep.
the statues.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I must point out that
I
you
just
don't need to go to the Shadowfell anymore.
yeah.
But in the words of the Veiled Queen, we still have a hurdle to overcome. I had a second chance to kill that damn thing.
And she could have been speaking about Takesis.
Or a number of different things.
We don't need to go to the Shadowfell, but there is still an evil being here who's caused considerable damage and troubles.
And the trapped spirits. Don't forget the boy. from earlier?
And part of us convincing what's-her-face was clearing this up, was it not?
Exactly as we were when we died. Like, no one was just one HP.
No, everything's back to normal.
Oh,
Full spell slots, health, everything.
Yeah.
In the level?
No, I'm kidding.
And so-
I know what she is, but she's one.
This
Let's see if you want to fight the
groundskeeper-
tower or not.
This groundskeeper could be avoided, but the way I see it, we'll be confronting the owner of the Tower of Felbats regardless.
I will be open and honest here. I may have died to it, but I don't want to turn around and run from it. I'm not a coward.
I have to be honest, I'm quite surprised by your sudden change of opinion. Sorry, that was sarcasm.
I get what you said.
But maybe we can figure out what we're gonna do since we know what kind of lays ahead of us. It didn't really seem to work very well when the candle wasn't lit, so maybe we could, I don't know, come up with a strategy.
Maybe have the people who can light the candle easily. Have you focused on candle duty and clearing the creatures that are around, while the people are good at confronting the main problem? Take care of it.
None of us want to speak about what just happened. We're just going to ignore it and move on.
By the way, you can fully feel Alatrai's light again. Your connection to him is completely renewed, and the power, like the warmth, is now like running through your body, and like all of your senses are there. You can sense like the evil presence emanating from the other side of the door. You can feel the bound and tortured souls of the ghosts and stuff that are roaming the grounds, and you're keenly aware of your divinity at this point again.
You're right, Altheon. I was just nervous because I don't want to die again.
Nor do I. I don't believe we'll get the same treatment.
But, Katarina, how are you?
Well, I still have my magic, which is good. I don't think it's quite hit me that I'm never going to see my father again.
That's just,
So you do still consider him to be your father?
In the technical sense of the word, at least.
If what he said was true, then I think we could agree that the single greatest thing he's ever done in his life is spare you as a child. You're meant to be here.
it sounded like at least he believed it. Whatever the actual case may be. Possibly he had his memories messed with, or it's very complex.
Don't understand this seemingly human need to withhold your emotions from those you care about. I understand that elves can come across as cold or aloof at times, but there is not a moment that will go by where my son doesn't understand that I love him. And yet, neither of you could say it to each other.
I don't know if we had that sort of relationship. It's difficult to describe. But I've been searching for him for so long. And for many years, I only saw him. It was just the two of us. And now, whether I was searching for him out of loneliness or more recently out of anger and desire for revenge, that goal was there, and I knew I was going to see him eventually. But now that's done. I don't think it's hit me yet.
This is very introspective. At least you know the impact will arrive. We were just in the presence of not one, but two gods.
Yeah, like, I get we're alive, but it didn't really feel like it went all that well.
You don't think so?
Well, given that it sounds like we're targets of a god, like, directly, she did encroach on the Veiled Queen's domain to make demands, and kinda said that she was gonna get back at her through us and other things.
She won't let Katarina go. But she can't do anything to force Katarina's hand.
She'll continue to try to manipulate from the shadows and feed you lies and deals, and
As long as you continue to be you, it won't matter.
you made a tough decision. And although it seems as if there aren't quite as many solid consequences, I understand the weight it must have felt. We're still here.
I think she's right in that temptation will always be there to reach out. And especially if we're in a dire circumstance again. I may want to reach out and ask for her help.
Well, either way, you're bound for greatness. And I am happy to be part of that story. Godric, you've been uncharacteristically quiet.
It's because I'm angry.
Well, that's new.
I think I feel I'm in a similar boat as you. When I first died, I was sad and felt like I lost. And then we moved and met the Veiled Queen, and the whole time all I'm doing is thinking of where's my god. I was meant to be taken by him. And then I saw Hecate walk in. I felt maybe it wasn't the Veiled Queen. Maybe I was unworthy. Then I thought of all that I've done. I don't believe that. Just... What did you say? Unpacking? I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm angry.
I'm not in the same realm of thought as you. At first I might have been. There was confusion. I hadn't felt an absence of the light ever. But with enough insight and thought, I've come to a conclusion. One that at least I believe, whether it is true or not. And it's twofold. Firstly, Katarina is the daughter of Hecate, regardless of what decision she made or what actions she committed to throughout her life. That does not change.
No. But I'm behind her no matter what you choose.
Right, now apply that same logic to yourself. Your actions don't actually matter. Either way, you are still one of Crom's, one of Ragnar's, and I am still one of Alatrari's. And in the moment when we were in the shadows, and we felt abandoned, it's plain to see that they may not be entirely omniscient, but they know when our souls are calling, and they knew our souls were not calling. They had no reason to be there because we were not in danger.
Something still does not sit right. The next chance I get, I want to visit the Temple of Kra, which means I want to go home eventually.
Do they still make temples?
There are some in Sumeria. There are some in fighting pits, general competitions, blood sport. There is some.
You still have a dragon to kill.
Riven, my complaints and anger will come later. Just breathing, because you still don't show emotion while trying not to show some of it.
Well, I said humans don't communicate it very well. You communicate a couple feelings quite well. Hunger, rage, confusion.
That is mainly when you're talking. I'm going to be completely honest here.
I apologize. I do.
I haven't learned to read your face.
Perhaps
Which is-
if you just listened to my words, you wouldn't have to read my face.
Well, I tried listening to your words, and half the time I look for your face for clues. It doesn't work. And this is coming from a man who has traveled with that. It doesn't move.
The Warforged.
His face doesn't move, and I can generally get an idea of what he's saying. You? No idea.
Good. Trina, you okay?
I don't know, I'm just... There was a lot of information covered. Like...
You owe a debt of pets, and she will collect.
I think that might be it, because she comes and she's like, yeah.
Like... Hargraves.
She probably heard your roommates were petting Toby.
Oh, that made her move. She's like, you better.
Yeah, like Hargraves, he's still out there. One of her servants that she was talking about. At least I think that's Hargraves. Or Patty.
I never met this Patty.
I've been thinking of that. She somehow did, that means she possibly betrayed you.
Maybe. I'm still not quite sure what to make of both versions of the story I've heard.
Are all the candles in this room lit?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to believe that the truth is somewhere in the middle, but it's difficult to know for sure. But I do know that once we get out of here, we can... I still have the orb. We could scry on Hargraves and Patty and Brittle even.
That orb was a gift from Hecate.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean the orb itself isn't independent, but it is kind of drawing on those strings, isn't it?
Can't afford to.
But isn't that what Hecate wants?
What if it is what she wants?
I guess it could kind of drive yourself crazy. Asking left and right is, oh, is this Hecate's plan? Is this part of the plan? Maybe that's part of the plan. Does it drive you crazy?
Exactly.
I think it is a special mind that must be molded for that. I ask every day what the Seldarine's plan is, and I feel quite sane. Godric is so large I can literally hear his head displacing the wind as he shakes it.
Shit.
I'm gonna kind of make little minor illusion, like fireworks. Well, clearly she does not control me. And I don't think that she controls this either. I think it was more of a bribe sort.
So
But-
you have a terrible parent.
Well,
You have noticed since you've been back that kind of very in touch natural connection, that power that you felt that you were having in the region of Midheim has more or less kind of faded, and you now feel very much more like you did before you even entered the region.
but now that we know, like, what you are, maybe we could do some research and look into it and learn more about, like, demigod type characters, and maybe that might provide you some answers. I mean, that's what your dad was looking for, right?
Maybe one of them means to be a demigod.
Yeah, like, is your power independent? Because, you know, gods have kids, and that, like gods have kids and stuff, right? And their powers aren't necessarily dependent on mom and dad. Like, they're kind of independent sometimes. Or at least it just it depends on the legends.
I think maybe the rhythm is the same, but the words are different. Everyone would be able to tell that that's sort of where my magic comes from, but I think it's my own.
There are some texts I've read about God touched or the sons and daughters of the deities, and one thing for sure is that none of them faded into the shadows. Each of them impacted Terrowyn in some way. You get to choose that, though. And I suspect it's going to be standing upon the defeated body of Takesis. With Godric, you'll be there, of course.
No, I'll be fine. I'll be in the back when no one's looking, sitting upon Androkar.
He is all yours.
I'm getting a little ahead of ourselves, maybe.
We still have a grave digger keeper thing.
If we want to head that way, we still have something else we've got to kill first.
But I'll say this: he was surprised he was dead.
Well,
If she died, did we know?
I've also just remembered we have to go forward. The tunnel collapsed.
Shit.
Oh, I thought you were doing like a destiny thing.
Yes.
We're compelled to
We
move
must
forward.
move
Yes.
forward.
Destiny
Come on,
collapsed the
destinies.
Yes, Destiny said we're stuck in this room.
Discover the heroes that we are destined to be.
At that, I'm gonna draw Gwendolyn, rest it on the shoulder, pull out the hammer, and well, I don't know about you, but I'm not getting any older.
Maybe one day
Yes,
we'll even
you
get
are
luck of
getting
personality.
No, the
Every
saying
second.
is you don't get any older.
I
No, that's
believe
not the
it's
sec- the
that you
saying.
don't get any younger.
You're always getting older, friend.
In fact, right now is the youngest you'll ever be again.
Oh, there it went. Oh, there it
Now
went
you're
again.
older.
There are certain
When Dodger
magics.
stops, he has to think for a second. He goes,
You
What,
have
you
to
bet?
think and pet a dog.
At one point, I do remember you saying something about spending years in Emrath, but now I question your capability of understanding how time flows.
It was years. I was there.
Fair.
Yes, each year is when the snow falls.
And how often does the snow fall in Emrath block?
Not often. Particularly since we were on the coast.
Don't think it fell once. Now that I think about it.
All right, so moving forward to face the groundskeeper then.
Yes.
That's the plan.
Yes.
It
Prep,
feels as if it
potions,
is our only
spells.
plan, but yes, we should prep. Commit to a battle.
I don't think she approves.
Yeah, she's like, that was a bad idea. It didn't go well for you guys
Don't
last
do
time.
that
She's
again.
like, no, not
You
again.
guys got fucking wrecked last time.
Last time we didn't have you though.
That's true.
I
Yeah, we didn't have
also
you playing
told
you.
Texel we weren't playing tonight, so he has no idea the stream's going right now.
We must complete combat tonight.
The
That's fair.
do you have more candles?
Yes. I should have quite a few. Dig into my bag.
Are they sanctified?
Every single speck of gear I carry is sanctified.
He pisses sanctity.
To make sacred.
He shits synchrony. He wipes synchrony.
Yes, I have 6 candles
He
left.
has pieces of sanctity on his underwear.
Last time we relied on lighting one candle. Maybe we should each be holding one.
And the two of us should be able to light candles fairly easily.
My sole goal will be to break him. The second those candles are up.
Sasha, come on.
Godric, I think you are wholly incapable of saying anything that would surprise us. I'm saying that you are steady and consistent.
Well, I know what I'm good at.
And so do we,
Just checking.
of course. But perhaps a plan.
Plan and maybe a second to stretch and breathe. We were just dead. Bodies may, what is that word you called it?
I don't.
Rot!
I feel better than ever.
I suspect that we were never actually dead. In some, or that we were, but now we are not.
If we were, I don't think it was for very long. I think that we experienced much more time than our bodies did.
I believe that possibly time has reversed.
I would agree
for
with
us.
you.
Or maybe she opened a, what was it, different mirror or window for us to go through.
Maybe we're
A
in
different past that could
a
happen.
completely different timeline altogether. And in this one, we succeed.
We can now take over the
I
street.
I don't think that that's the way
As you
time
rush.
works, but I'm no expert.
Yeah, we'll just let him know when he comes back that
We
we did
won.
the fight and we won, so
We
we're
did the
good
fight
to
and we
go.
I'll run it.
Oh god.
It's alright. So we must keep the candle lit.
Why just one?
It is the act of sanctifying the area that created
It's vulnerable.
So why
its
not?
vulnerability. Yes, good word, by the way.
Ah, that was in the paper.
Why not place more candles at the altar?
6 syllables you spoke. In one word.
6 what?
Syllables.
What are those?
The parts of the word that make different sounds.
Sounds made up.
Sounds are made up, sort of.
Ah.
Anyway, the point being, it was the act of lighting the one candle and placing it upon the statue of Taylor that granted us access to the monster's vulnerabilities.
Could we just move one of these in there? As I point at one of the other
If
statues.
we each
No,
held a
this room would no
candle,
longer be sanctified.
if that one went out, we could switch them. It'd be faster than relighting it.
And we could all do it.
So do each of you plan on doing the prayer rites of Taylor as well when you insert the candle?
Well, that's why I asked if you had candles prepared.
I believe that as we place the candle upon the statue, that is how we enact the rite. Then we simply must keep that candle lit. The other candles are not important unless they've been part of the ritual. And I feel it is a one candle ritual.
We can't pre-pray and
So it's a one candle statue.
Gods.
Yes, lots of rules and expectations. Not unlike your physics or magical studies.
That's true.
Well, when you consider God created your rules.
Yes, God did.
what about rules being meant to be broken?
There's always an exception.
Or at least bent a little bit.
I think that just happened.
Huh.
Yes.
Okay, I
In a
agree with
very
you.
big way.
I'm curious about what you all saw on the shards of mirrors. It's been. I'm just curious.
I saw my memories. But I also saw some things that didn't happen. Almost like things that I could have done but didn't.
Or maybe things that you could still do.
It was a bit more muddy for me. Elves have past lives. We never truly die. We are reincarnated. It's only after the first 200 years or so that we have memories of our past lives. So I saw decisions and consequences to actions I don't even remember committing. It was wholly inconsequential for me.
I saw my parents, and I saw all my siblings, and I saw us in the supply shack, and they were sitting down for dinner for some gutter gumbo, and everybody was happy, and then I saw different chapters of my life.
You said they were all happy, not you. Were you there?
No.
Why not?
I was studying.
Oh.
It was somewhere else.
The only coherent things I saw when I looked was my time since being awakened with him.
No hints, nothing before.
Just gray shadows. Silhouette of what looked like a man. And vague violence. War.
Well, speaking of violence, are we ready?
Let's go commit some.
I will light the candle and perform what little of Taylor's right I know. I think it is important that we prioritize the candle, and perhaps we find a way of keeping those that the groundskeeper calls to aid away from some of you. Katarina, your magics, although powerful, don't seem to be very useful against spirits and the like.
They don't tend to be, no, unfortunately.
Then I think it may be best for you to focus on the candle.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
I think with Trin's support, we should be able to maintain that light. Locke, you do seem particularly effective at crowd control. And that will be your duty, is to deal with the reinforcements. Godric, I wouldn't deign to tell you what to do with that sword, so just do what you do best.
Godric smash.
I am going to cast
Sure.
Armor of Agathis on myself before we go in there. That's like the only prep spell I have.
Out of character. Prep rage. Like
No.
rage a door. You know, I thought I'm gonna
You can totally rage
Psych
before you
yourself
open
up.
the door.
You psych yourself up.
I'm gonna rage and run through this fucking door.
I'll pull my bag off and go through some of my potions.
There were 2 chambers and 2 statues. The first one we light as we did before. And the room after was groundskeeper.
No, the room with the groundskeeper is the one with the statue. We're in the antechamber now.
Right. Well then, back. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Didn't we do the same exact thing with the statue and the candle in the room before?
In this room, yes.
We need to redo it, or is it lit?
No, I point to all the candles. They are lit.
That's why it's safe.
I'll have to enter to the next room and do what we did last time. Godric, this potion, I pull it out. It's like a red, almost like a translucent red potion, but there's like a large silver fingernail floating inside of it.
You see me just throw the hammer behind me somewhere? Let me grab it. What is this?
You're strong, but I don't think you're as strong as a fire giant. But you could be in a very short amount of time.
I'm going to. I'm saving the sword.
We can get another.
We have to get to Riven
Yes, we have to
first.
get to Riven first. We
Godric.
could buy another one.
Godric, I negotiated us to have unlimited source of help from the entire city once we return. And I commissioned potions while we were there. Do you
It's
remember?
true.
No.
Well, I'm right here to remind you that we have plenty to return to. And hoarding that right now doesn't mean anything.
Alright, I'll drink it before we go through the door.
Does anybody... Well, you do. Gwendolyn, may I borrow her for just a second?
Actually, I flip it over and get it over.
So I sit down
Raise up, catch the hammer, and put it on the belt.
onto my knees, and I take
Did you do
the
any necrotic damage? Right.
sword, I lay it down in front of me,
Yeah.
and then I
All the
take my
spirits.
glaive and lay it down next to the sword, and I pull out an oil with the symbol of Alatrari on it, and I put it in my hands and begin to wipe it across both of the blades, and I'll apply oil of sharpness to both of our weapons, so it's a +3 bonus to attack and damage. So if you're already at 2, it only goes up 1, but...
How long does that last?
1 hour. Yeah. So I'll do that to both of our weapons. So we'll get a bonus to attack and damage for that.
Your hammer is not sharp.
That's why I said
It
it.
has to
If
do
it's swing
it,
or
it
not.
has to do slashing
Oil of
damage.
Oh, it
sharpness.
has to?
Perhaps,
Yeah.
perhaps if I place the oil of sharpness on your forehead, you could learn to read.
Sharp
Ah,
also means smart.
Got him.
Hey, that's a good one. You're learning to have humor. Good.
Yes. I've always had the humor, you're just learning to understand it. Remember all those stories about my age, how I would say, not long, only 120 years? That's knowing that you don't perceive time the same way I do.
Sorry, I stopped listening. You started talking about time.
I will grab out of the bag of holding and to Katarina a black potion with like sickly green kind of sediment in it. It is a potion of necrotic resistance.
I am already resistant to necrotic,
Give
but
it to
I
him, man.
appreciate it.
Last time it was not a darkened energy that was pervading
How
the
long
room,
does that
but
last?
a cold, an absence of heat.
1 hour.
Oh, I was about to get fucked up on potions.
I don't know that will protect you.
This one?
The wraiths and the specters do necrotic damage,
And reduce your health max.
and reduce your health maximum.
So reduce
The groundskeeper was doing cold damage and necrotic damage, depending on which attack he was using. The cold damage was a sharp, biting, freezing wind that would whip through the room at the top of the top of the round. And then his scythe was doing both cold and necrotic.
Yeah. Once you punch Gwendolyn, I'm gonna grab her and I'm gonna take both potions, one on each finger, pop the cork on both, and when are we going through the door?
Are we ready?
I think so. I'll pull out my book and kind of get ready to go.
As we get to the door, I'm gonna bring both up at once and just down them both, and probably cough.
The fire giant potion actually tastes like cinnamon.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The necrotic one tastes like rotten flesh.
Oh, wow. It's like spicy, rancid meat. Ugh.
Sorry. I'll hold my glaive out to you. Would you mind carrying that until I need it? Thank you. Careful, Soraya. Well, you haven't earned the right to use that weapon, so be careful. Then I'll light a candle that's meant to go for Taylor's statue, and then I'll light a second candle, so I'm holding two candles. I have a plan for one of these.
Cool. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna boot the door open.
Until next Friday.
Ah!